Jess here with a flippin' awesome interactive underwater card featuring stamps and dies from Fawn. To start off, here's a closer look at that flip in action. Now let's go backwards and show you how we got there. So as you can probably tell, this was a pretty coloring intensive card. I stamped images from several Fawn sets and noted them on the cardstock for you. I used You Are Sublime, BAAAH Humbug, Cheery Christmas, Keep On Swimming, FINTASTIC Friends, DUH-NUH, Christmas Fishes, and Mermaid for You. I stamped them on white cardstock using my MISTI, and I stamped each set of images twice to get more options. You'll see that I end up not coloring or using everything. I saved the leftover images for future cards. I've sped up my coloring so that the video won't last forever. If you have any questions about specific color combos I used, please leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer. Hope you enjoy the coloring. While you're watching, I thought I'd take a minute to remind you about my big YouTube giveaway. At the end of September 2019, I'll choose a random subscriber to win a $100 gift card to the crafty shop of their choice. If I hit my goal of 10,000 subscribers this month, I'll choose 2 winners. And all you have to do to enter is subscribe. I've got lots of videos coming this month and I hope you'll subscribe so you won't miss any. Anyway, back to coloring. Once I finished coloring, I die cut all my colored images. They're so fun to look at all lined up. Next, I started working on my card. To start, I die cut the flipping awesome mechanism and 4 squares for my flip pieces from white cardstock. I also cut a piece of cardstock to 4 by 8.5 inches for my main slimline card panel. Then I die cut a simple stitched hill from masking paper and adhered it to the bottom of my slimline panel. I blended Mermaid Lagoon, Blueprint Sketch, and Chip Sapphire Distress Oxide inks onto the panel. Next, I blended the same colors onto the back and front of 3 of the squares for my flip panels. I tried to estimate where they'd be flipped on my back panel and adjusted the amount of each color accordingly to match. On the last panel, I masked off the bottom with the same hillside mask and blended my ink. I did not need to blend on the back of that panel since it will be attached to the flip mechanism. Next, I placed the other half of my mask over the slimline panel and the square and blended tea dye and walnut stain Distress Oxide ink to create my sandy ocean floor. After my panels were dry, I placed them in an overspray box and spritzed them with water a few times. I blotted off the excess and then repeated the process with the back of the squares. Once everything was dry, I trimmed down the slimline panel to 3 3/4 inches by 8 inches. Then it was time to assemble Flippin' Awesome. The score lines aren't as easy to see on the blue cardstock, so I'll show you on the white cardstock before repeating the process on my blue cardstock. First, you'll fold and score the small side tabs. Next, fold the panel in the center on the score line. Then there are 3 small score lines next to the center score line. Fold and score each of them in one direction, and then fold and score the same line in the opposite direction. It seems like the more you break the fibers of the paper by scoring in both directions, the more easily the mechanism will work. Okay, so here we go. Amusingly enough, I totally adhered these squares backwards and had to fix them later, but you can learn from my mistakes. With creating a seamless design with blending on both sides, I should have put a piece of washi tape on each square to remind myself of what order and what side they should be adhered. First, I applied adhesive to the entire bottom square and adhered my ocean bottom square. Then I applied adhesive in between each score line, but not on the score line, and adhered each square at the top only so they overlap. I accidentally adhered them backwards, not remembering which side would face forward when you pulled the pull tab. Then apply a strong adhesive, I'm using double-sided tape from Fawn, to each little side tab. Fold the top of the panel backwards along the middle score line and hug the little tabs around it. They will not adhere to the scored panel, but to your card base. Once I figured out where I wanted the Flipping Awesome mechanism, I peeled off the adhesive backing and adhered the mechanism to my card panel. As you can see, the mechanism is only adhered to the card panel by those 2 little tabs. This is the point I tested my mechanism and realized I'd adhered the squares backwards. So I carefully pulled those off and re-adhered them in the correct direction so that the colors of the squares mostly line up with the background panel colors when they're flipped. There was only one tiny tear on one square from the adhesive, but it was easily covered with one of my stamped images. Obviously, you can make this a lot easier on yourself by only decorating one side of each square, but I really wanted to create the seamless appearance of a bunch of sea creatures descending down to the ocean floor to decorate their Christmas tree. I tested the mechanism a few times just to make sure everything was moving smoothly. The more you play with the card, the more easily it moves. Then it was time to assemble my underwater scene. Every image was contained to one square with no overlap except the large Christmas tree. I carefully scored that along the crease of my panels and adhered it to both squares. I tested the mechanism again to make sure it would move smoothly, and yay, it did. Next, I just started adding my colored images to each square and around on the slimline panel. I made sure that each square had some holiday element to continue the theme of decorating the tree. I also like tucking images around the flipping awesome mechanism or going off the panel slightly to create the effect of this just being a snippet of a full scene, that the fish just happened to start swimming into view when I started my card. I also die cut the pull arrow from gold glitter cardstock and adhered it to the pull tab as I was building my scene. I stamped a sentiment from Christmas fishes onto a wavy red cardstock banner and heat embossed it with white embossing powder before adding it to my scene. I decided to use my card as a gift card holder and added a few removable glue dots to my gift card before tucking it under the bottom square. Make sure the edge of your gift card is under that square, otherwise the flipping mechanism will catch on the square and not move smoothly. I actually think the gift card gives the mechanism a little more stability and helps it move easier. Off camera, I added accents with a white gel pen and touches of sparkle with the new Lawn Fawn glitter pen. I also added a little crystal glaze and PRISMA glitter to all the Christmas lights for a little extra sparkle to finish the card. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed my video today. You can find links to my blog and all of the products I used in the YouTube description below. And if you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you'd like to see more from me. And don't forget to subscribe for your chance to win the $100 crafty shopping spree. Thanks so much for watching, have a beautiful day, and happy crafting. Bye!